But we begin tonight with the late Archbishop Desmond Tutu and what he said were the three hardest words to say: I am sorry. In 2014, he wrote, "We can come up with all manner of justifications to excuse what we have done. When we are willing to let down our defenses and look honestly at our actions, we find there is a great freedom in asking for forgiveness and great strength in admitting the wrong. It is how we free ourselves from our past errors. It is how we are able to move forward into our future, unfettered by the mistakes we have made." Unfortunately, "I am sorry" was too hard for Fox to utter as part of its $787 million settlement with Dominion Voting Systems, the largest settlement by a media company in history. As Vice News explains, there was no apology for repeatedly airing the lies that played a key role in convincing a large swath of Americans that the 2020 election was rigged, which did irreparable damage to voters' trust in the democratic system. Not even a peep. And what that signals, which may not be all that surprising, is that Fox's behavior is not likely to change. Well, except perhaps causing their anchors to use a self-deleting text platform to exchange their true views about Donald Trump, their viewers, and what's happening in the news. Fox is not out of the legal woods yet, however, when it comes to their coverage following the 2020 election. They are facing another defamation lawsuit from yet another election technology company, Smartmatic, which is demanding a whopping $2.7 billion in damages. That company made it clear after the Dominion settlement was announced that it is not backing down. In a statement, Smartmatic said Dominion's litigation exposed some of the misconduct and damage caused by Fox's disinformation campaign. Smartmatic will expose the rest. Showing that a leopard never changes its spots, Fox responded with its failed Dominion defense, telling Axios there is nothing more newsworthy than covering the President of the United States and his lawyers making allegations of voter fraud. Except that Judge Eric Davis already shut down that defense from being used in the Dominion trial, telling Fox's lawyers in a pre-trial hearing, quote, "Just because somebody is newsworthy doesn't mean you can defame somebody." And then there are the pair of lawsuits from former Fox News producer Abby Grossberg, alleging that the network had a toxic workplace culture of discrimination and that company lawyers coerced and intimidated her into providing misleading testimony when she was questioned in a deposition in the Dominion case. Ms. Grossberg was fired by Fox after she filed her suit. Fox says her legal claims are, quote, riddled with false allegations. Ms. Grossberg also handed over several audio recordings that she made featuring Rudy Giuliani and other Trump allies admitting that they had no evidence of any issues with Dominion voting machines. Fox failed to provide those recordings to Dominion during discovery, leading to sanctions from the judge. Joining me now is Jerry Filipatos, the attorney for former Fox News producer Abby Grossberg. And Mr. Filipatos, thank you for being here. I want to first start with that last bit there. Your client has apparently been subpoenaed in the Smartmatic lawsuit. Is that correct?
Yes.
Is there anything new? Because we know that she does have some additional recordings. There were some things that were not turned over initially. Is there anything new that we're going to learn from her that we didn't already know from the Dominion case?
First of all, thrilled to be with you, Joy. And yes, there is plenty that's going to be learned from Abby's documents and Abby's testimony, if necessary, in the Smartmatic case, and of course in our two cases. Dominion, who we congratulate. I mean, it was certainly a history-making settlement that they were able to achieve, and that's because of the hard work of the lawyers and, frankly, the trueness of their cause. But they said that their lawsuit provides a roadmap for Smartmatic. Abby Grossberg is the star guide for that roadmap.
And then talk about your case. Lay out what the basis of your lawsuit is, because it does feel like she did describe a workplace environment that for women was a nightmare. But that's something Fox has settled lots of lawsuits about, the environment in which women are forced to work over there. But also the mistreatment of her anchor and this pushing her to lie. Talk about your lawsuit and how you expect that to play out.
Sure. I mean, let me just say one thing that ties into the answer I'm going to give you, which is that one of the problems that we have with the fact that at the end of the day, Fox didn't apologize, Fox didn't acknowledge anything in the Dominion settlement, is that Fox has a propensity to pay large settlements, notorious settlements, and then go back to what it was doing, to our lawsuit. Going back to the Ailes era, we know that Fox settled cases sounding in sexual harassment, gender discrimination, et cetera, in the petering out, I guess, in 2015, 2016, to the tune of hundreds of millions of dollars. And ultimately, first those were private, but ultimately they became public by some very dogged efforts by colleagues of mine. And so then we flash forward to sort of the end of Abby's career at Fox when she was on the Tucker Carlson show, and she was subjected to one of the most heinous and gross working environments I could imagine. I mean, I've litigated a lot of these cases. I've been doing it for 30 years, and I thought that the kind of chauvinism and misogyny and just inhumane behavior that existed on the Tucker Carlson show was unimaginable. I mean, the C word bandied about like it was hello, anti-Semitism, signs being put on trees, Christmas trees, calling them a Hanukkah bush. It was just unbelievable that this level of inappropriate behavior still exists in the workplace. And by the way, that's only 2 years after Fox News was fined by the New York City Commission of Human Rights to the tune of $1 million, and then entered into somewhat like a consent decree promising it was going to change its stripes. Stripes remain the same.
Wow. I mean, we just saw Fox's willingness to settle for a record sum when it came to their lies about Dominion. And as you pointed out, refused to apologize, meaning that the people who watch Fox News, who probably didn't hear any of the revelations about what Tucker Carlson and others really think about Donald Trump and what they really thought about the election, they're never going to hear it. In your case.
I just to interrupt, I wouldn't say that they're never going to hear it. I would say that they are very likely to hear it in the near future, because remember, Abby Grossberg went from the frying pan into the fire. First, she was at the Maria Bartiromo show, where she suffered, just classic glass ceiling discrimination, wasn't promoted to executive director, although she ran the show by herself. The weekend show for Ms. Bartiromo was rated #1, I think, in the nation on Sundays, and yet it had a staff of one, just Abby. And the reason for that was because they had this what we contend is an almost elegant evil plan to essentially let Ms. Bartiromo, go wild, if you will, and try to gain some traction in the male-dominated world there. And then only when they saw that legal liability was at their doorstep, when the Smartmatic case hit, did they cool things down. And then they went about in a very, very inappropriate, coercive way. I mean, just an aside, the only thing that's riddled with inaccuracies is Fox News's consistent and blatant misrepresentation of Abby Grossberg's position, what she did, and also what she said to them. They contended in open court. This astounds me. It was Wednesday of the last week of the last day, I think, of the hearing before the trial, before jury selection. So Fox News attorneys are excoriated for like an hour because they essentially misrepresented Rupert Murdoch as not being involved in Fox News, not having an officer role. So after that hour, they then say in open court that Abby Grossberg never told them about the tapes that she turned over. A lie.
Well, we are going to be watching this case very closely. Gerry Filipatos, hopefully you'll come back and talk about it as this continues. Thank you so much for being here.
That'd
really
be great.
Appreciate you being here. Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Cheers. Let me bring in Michael Steele, MSNBC political analyst, former chairman of the RNC, and host of the Michael Steele podcast. I cannot wait to be on there sometime very soon.
Yes.
You just heard what he said. The toxic atmosphere at Fox, to me, explains kind of what they're like on air. It kind of explains the kind of nastiness. It explains the misogyny, because it's happening behind the scenes as well. But it also kind of really, honestly, Michael, it explains a lot of what's happening in the party. Because Republicans, that's all they watch on Capitol Hill. They're watching that, too, and they're taking that in as the way you should act.
Well, you actually raise a very interesting point. And for me, what it speaks to more directly, both at Fox and within the Republican Party, is permission.
Yeah.
They are given permission to behave this way. As the lawyer just noted, the environment there was toxic. It was misogyny. It was gross. Well, that environment is allowed to exist because the higher up, starting with the owner of the company, reflects that back in the way that they go, well, it doesn't affect me. I don't think that's really happened. They turn a blind eye and they walk away. That is similarly what you see playing out inside the GOP. The ugly behavior of the Marjorie Taylor Greenes and the Matt Gaetz is not berated. It's accentuated, it's elevated, and it's given the permission it needs to, which is like oxygen, to keep going.